Department of Strength-Based Marketing. I'm Pat Dewar. I'm so excited about today because I have a question for you. How many of you have been on the doorstep of that CEO in the sense of about to walk into their office to give the presentation for the $1 million idea? I mean, literally something that was a high ticket. If you're somebody who works in enterprise selling, this show can help you. My guest, David Suson, has an amazing system to help you get not only through that jitter, but beyond to where you begin to have the process. Now, maybe you go, hey, I'm already good. And I go, great. Are you still learning? Because next year's quota might be higher than this year's. What are you going to do? David, let me welcome you to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, Pat, thank you so much for inviting me and having me on today.
You know, I've seen you help people with 12, 13, 15, 20 million and beyond a year quota. And I know when you were with IBM producing at that top 1% of salespeople in the country, I'm just curious. Would you tell me your quota back then, what it was?
Well, that's a good question. Boy, that was a few years ago. You know, I would say I was probably selling in that 10 to $20 million range most of my career. And then, and sometimes I was paid on revenue. Sometimes I'm paid on profit margin. Software was a big focus, or SaaS, or complex technology sales, which is more of a enterprise, little bit of everything, right? Implementation of infrastructure, software, consulting services. I've kind of done it all. And
that's the thing, is that you actually not only have done it with IBM, you've taken it to any other company and industry you've been to. You've written your book. You've gotten spoken on stages all over the country, literally all over the country and multiple nations, I know.
Right.
And helping people really get that missing piece. That it's not like they got a huge jump. They got, if you can, just a little bit can make a big difference though, can't it?
Yeah, it can. And to me, you know, there's a lot of salespeople, you know, I hate to say they get lucky, but, you know, you work for a good company, you show up, they eventually make their quota. They set the quota as a goal, you know, and they make it. But I look at it as this way. First of all, I don't want to just make it. Number one, I want to make it consistently, but I want to be in the top 10%, because when you're in the top 10%, a couple things happen. You hit accelerators where you make more money, but you have, you know how they say knowledge is power? Performance is power. And so it opens the doors. You get I mean, as much as people, you hate to hear it, you're treated differently. And boy, I got to tell you, it's a lot more fun to be at the top, and not just do it by luck. And Pat, I just want to share this because it's amazing to me. In business, sometimes you just show up and you make it, right? But there is a percent of people out there that say, that's not what I want. What I want is, I actually want to get better. Like the training my company gave me, not enough. Like, I call it entitlement. You know, we joke about everyone gets a trophy, but you know, we've seen this before, where so many times you're an employee and you work for someone else, and that mindset is, well, you know, if the company trains me, if the company pays for it. But I love that individual that says, you know what, I really want to do it on my own, regardless of my company. And I know they gave me the training, I'm getting by, but what am I doing to take the skill to the next level? It's kind of like an athlete. You know, there's a difference between the amateur athlete who goes, oh, you know, I just work hard every day. And then the one that goes, I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to work on strength and speed and accuracy, but I need someone who knows more than I do. You know, steel sharpens steel. I need someone better. And we see it in athletics, but oftentimes in the world of employment, where you have a job, people don't think that way. You know, and I just want to share this because I love the book um, Free Agent Nation by Daniel Pink. And he talks about this whole idea of, you know, you got to look at yourself as a free agent, and what are you doing to build your own value? And I just see so many people, they just get by. And so I always look for the people, I get excited by the people who go, hey, raise their hand and say, I want what you have. I want to get better. I want a mentor. I want a coach.
And do you see a lot of C-level owner types as well that are going, you know I can't get everybody into that top 10%. There's always going to be people that kind of have that other mindset,
Right.
but there are the few.
Right.
And are there ways to identify those that you can grow? And then what does it take to get somebody that says, yes, I want it? Because I believe when the student's ready, the teacher shows up.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So are there things that you have and you do differently to try to activate those people that are at the 80%, maybe to get to that 90 to 95%?
Or below 80 that want to grow? You know, I got to tell you, so for an executive, right? So a VP, a CEO, someone, usually you know who they are. I had a team of 16 employees, and I had one guy, and you could just tell because he was young in sales, but he was curious, he was interested, he took my coaching. And, you know, I followed him a couple of years later. He was a regional manager. He moved up in his career. And then I had other employees that are like, yeah, whatever. You know, I don't need to hear it. I already know it all. And then there's the others who just don't care. And so they usually poke their head up, and you can tell. But there are a lot of salespeople. I'll just be really frank with you, Pat. There are a lot of salespeople I've interviewed that still believe sales is an art, it's intuitive, and you're born with it. And I'm going to tell you flat out, they're wrong. Now, is there some truth to it? Yeah. Natural athletes, yes. But is that the only way? No, because I am not a natural. I was the shy, fat, introverted kid growing up. I was a total geek, right? Engineering background. And I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to take more risk. I was so comfortable not taking a risk. It honestly scared the crap out of me. And so when I graduated college, I go, no, I'm not doing engineering. And I stupidly went into sales. I have no idea what the heck I was thinking, but I looked, I don't know if I ever showed the story. We've chatted in the past, but what really happened is I went to the Career Ed Center and I looked at growth of sales or income, and sales was the only one that went whoop. And I thought, pay for performance. I'm willing to go for that. That's pretty risky. Let me try something risky. And I knew nothing about what I was doing. And so it was studied, it was coaching, it was reading, it was listening to audio programs, it was investing in myself. I never told anyone else. I never told anyone the books I was reading. I never told anyone. And all of a sudden they see me climbing and climbing and climbing, and I'm up on stage regularly, and they're like, what is this guy doing? Now, it took me a little while to get there. Now, I'm not dumb enough now. Now I go hire people. Like back then, I just was, stupidly fumbled for a few years. Now it's like, man, I do what athletes do. Boy, you want to learn? Get to the expert, get to the mentor and go, What am I doing? What is the root cause? What is the root thing I got to work on that's going to give me the biggest impact? And I call them blind spots, because if you knew them, you'd be doing them. And so what I do is, and that's what I do now. So anyway, net of it is, I learned, I grew, and I moved up to the top of the ranks. And now I practice what I preach, and I pay it forward, because I want to help others who are not where they want to be. And my belief is, you don't have to be born with it. You can learn it. And if you have the desire, the interest, you put the effort in, and you have someone to show you the way. The blind spots, they help you get to the root cause of what holds you back. And I'm not talking a rookie. I'm talking, you could be in sales 15, 20 years with $5 million quota, and you go, I'm doing okay. If you're doing okay, and you're okay doing okay, you're not someone I talk to. I want the person who says, hey, I'm okay, but I'm not happy where I want to be. Like, I was. They're like, hey, look, I want to do better. I want more consistency. I want to figure out what I'm doing wrong. And that's who I focus on. And as an owner, as an executive, head of sales, that's what I would look for in your employees, to answer your question. Focus on the people who care, they absorb it, they take your advice, they listen, and they want to learn.
So one of the things that my brain goes into is a couple little areas, and I think about the process that you walk people through.
Okay.
But I also, because I know the process works. I mean, I've experienced it. You and I worked together, and over a 3-month time period, it was amazing, the results that occurred. But it wasn't just, it was just, I knew I was hungry. You tweaked a couple of things, and then things began to grow again and have, continue to do well, except now we got COVID. I mean, I'm going to date this thing. I'm going to go, look, this is,
you did just date it. So now we know when we recorded it.
Yeah. And even though it's recorded, it's all
right.
good, because
Still relevant.
in 3 years from now, somebody's watching this.
Right.
Then beauty of it is, you get to see, did his stuff work? Is he still doing it? Is business booming? Because I've seen David do amazing things just in the 5 or 6 years that I've been aware of him. And I've seen him work with people and really create massive change. So at this time period where things have changed, do you have ideas and tools and ways to help reactivate and help people pivot to still get their larger quotas?
Well, absolutely. The hardest thing right now is more and more business is done over the phone, and it's done this way, right? With a video, with a camera in front of you. And the most important, there's a few things. One is, you really have to learn how to work with a camera. You have to learn how to let you come through the lens. And they talk about this with top actors. They talk about it with top newscasters. To be able to come through with an authenticity and energy, it's so different than being face to face. So that's number one. And people see your tell. That's number two. I talk about this in my books. I say, people know when you are lying. It's that little, oh, wait, what did he do? Right. And they subconsciously, they don't always know it consciously. Like, oh, you're lying. But in the back of their head, there's that little red flag. So it's even more important, because now you're highlighted on video and possibly recorded. So that's really key. That number three is getting people to take the time to want to meet with you. I talk about prospecting, and I will tell you, enterprise, complex sales, bigger sales, they go, oh, we don't do prospecting. And that's like for, dialing for dollars. You're always prospecting. Because let's say you are selling into a Fortune 500 account, a large solution, right? Could be $100,000, could be $1 million, could be multi-million dollar. Odds are there are multiple people involved in the decision. If it's a technology solution, you have the business unit or units, you have IT potentially, you have finance, it's got to go through procurement, you may have the executives, you may have someone else in their organization that likes a competitive product. So now the challenge is I'm selling to, let's say you, Pat, and I'm all excited about you, and I'm doing consultative selling. I'm teaching you, and I'm really getting to know you really well, and I'm spending time with you, and I'm bringing you new knowledge and information. You love me. The problem is there's 12 other people, and any one of those 12 people, Pat, could shoot this dang thing down. Finance could say, nope, not in the budget. We don't have money. It's not a good ROI. Procurement could say, hey, I'm going to send it out to bid, and they don't really care because they just want the cheapest price because they assume you're a widget because you meet the same specs as everyone else. And then you get an executive, a C-level, who goes, oh, I'm already dealing with this other company. I've been dealing with this other company for the last 10 years. We're just going to buy from them because they're the safe bet. And we already do millions of dollars with them. And you know what? They have 50-yard line seats. They have half-court seats. They're in the middle of the ice. So I don't want to lose that and tick off my vendor. So you know what? We're going to buy from them. And this stuff happens. This happens every day. And what is so critical in prospecting is learning how to message for every different type of person, different type of a department. And many people, excuse the French, suck at it. I coach them every time and they're like, oh yeah, I'm making 300 grand. And then we talk about moving a deal forward through one of their accounts. And I start realizing you don't know what you're doing. You got lucky. Quote and hope, buddy. And I've been there too. Let's shorten the sales cycle by learning how to do it more effectively. And let's grow the deal and let's eliminate competition. And that's what I teach. I'd like to share this because sometimes people watch these, podcasts and interviews and they go, well, what, how about a real tip? So prospecting, one of the things that I like to do is really understand what the drivers are and the challenges are of the people you're talking to. So I have a spreadsheet that I have, a worksheet spreadsheet that I have my clients fill out, and it goes through everyone. I think I did this with you, Pat, right? You go through all the different individuals that you are selling to, what their role is, what their challenges are, the impact of those challenges, and how your solution can impact them. So I'll give you a quick example of this. I had a client a number of years ago. I was selling a large multi-million-dollar deal to a Fortune 500 company. IT solution, IT got handed the ball to go shop. And I'm just one of, half dozen other people pitching. How do I differentiate? Well, I studied the annual reports. I studied the 10Ks. I did some homework, some investigative, work. And I learned that they were under pressure to cut millions of dollars out of the budget. So I knew how I could do that. I was at a sales meeting actually in Kansas City, and I left a voice, or in Chicago, excuse me. So I'm in a sales meeting in Chicago, and at a break, I leave a message for the VP of finance of this Fortune 500 company. And I said, hey, I understand, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to cut revenue. I have a way to save you $2 million legitimately. And there's a little bit more of the detail that made him know I wasn't just a BS call, but I knew what he cared about. I knew what his pain point was. I knew what was important. Pat, 20 minutes, I got a call back. 20 minutes. Scheduled a meeting. I was back in town the next week. We met, we worked, and 2 months later, multi-million-dollar sale closed. And that's with competition. That was being boxed in and pigeonholed by IT. That was dealing with a client who I consultative sailed and spent time and money and golf and meals and wine and all this money to schmooze, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was like give and give and give, and then it was take and take and take. And the only way I could have made that happen, it would have been lucky if I would have closed that in 6 months. but instead I drove the deal.
Right.
Deal was done 2 months later.
What's beautiful about your system is that it gives a predictable system to actually forecast. I mean, how many times have you gone to your salespeople and said, "Okay, what you going to sell?" And they go, "Oh no," or they give some pie in the sky number, and your system is very easy to go.
Right.
Are you going
Super easy.
enough? Yeah. Now, so what about your clients? Have you been able to, I know the answer to this in some sense, but I want to, not just me, I mean, you work with people that have $1 million quotas and beyond.
Right.
Can you give us an example or two of some of your clients that after working with you, what they've said, the
Yeah.
result were?
Yeah. So I work with sales teams or individuals, a lot of individuals, right? Where they come to me and they go, "Hey, my company, they gave me the 1-day training class. Most of it was on the job, but I want formal training. I want coaching. I want mentoring. And I don't get that. And I can't go to my boss and admit I'm struggling. I'm challenged. What do I do every day?" So I, I work on so many different, it's so funny when I first started doing sales training and coaching, you think it's just, prospecting and closing and blah, 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 blah. No, it's the 6 inches between the head. It is fighting fear. It is battling challenges, negative self-talk. Um, and some people go, "I don't have that." Spend 30 minutes with me. Okay. Let's talk. And I'll explain what I'm talking about, because you know what I mean. There are things that hold us back. So I just want to share this with you real quick. I had a client, and a large multi-million dollar client that they were working on, right? So their customer, Fortune 500, and one of the things that I coach is just what you were talking about, this prospecting, but it's really understanding the organization, and it's understanding the politics of the organization, and making sure to reduce risk and shorten the sales cycle. It's making sure you're talking to all the right people and the people who can have an influence on a deal. So this deal looked like it was moving forward. It ended up in legal, and I had coached my guy, said, "You got to get to legal, you got to get to procurement, you have to have connections to the CIO, you got to get to the CFO, you got to get to the CEO of a Fortune 500. You have to. This is a strategic sale. It will impact all tens of thousands, 100,000 employees. It is strategic. You need to get to them, because you never know if those C-level already have an existing relationship." Well, guess what? It got stuck in legal. And now the two legal departments between the sales guys team and the other team are like talking, and the client goes, "Well, we don't like your terms," and they walked away. And they actually had a trial in place, and they pulled the trial out. Turns out the CEO was using that product, and all of a sudden it was pulled out from under his feet, and he's like, "What the?" And he went, he goes ballistic, and he calls IT, he goes, "What's going on?" He goes, "Well, legal couldn't work it out. They didn't like the terms." They go like, "Well, you get them going, make it happen." And so now legal is just talking to each other, and they're making it happen. And it's exactly what I predicted. I said, this is why you need to be talking at these different levels, because the CEO can be your champion to drive it. And people tell me all the time, "Well, there's nothing I can do about legal." Yeah, you can. What I said to my client is, who tells legal what to do?
The people that sign their check,
And they're
right?
hey, they're going to make it happen, if there's enough power. But the problem is, if you're talking at the wrong level, if you're only talking to IT, they have nothing. If you're only talking to a business unit, they got nothing, unless that business unit is making $1 billion a year. and not signing the deal is going to cost your company $1 billion, you better be talking to that business unit or the C-level. So that's why we talk about getting high and getting wide in these accounts and becoming fearless. And I wrote about that in my book, is you got to be fearless enough to be able to approach. But more importantly, Pat, here's the problem. Every manager, every VP, call high, call CEOs. Here's the problem. Salespeople don't know what to say. And I'm telling you, if you go, hey, here, look, Mr. CEO, Miss CEO, look, I got this awesome pen. I'm going to save you all this money if you buy from me. The CEO's going to go, get the heck out of my office. I don't care. Okay, saving a penny on this pen is not at the CEO level. But is it strategic? Is it going to help you kick your competition's butt? Is it going to help you get your return on equity or return for shareholders? Then that would be important. I doubt it would be with pens. But my point is, you have to know, right? You have to know the impact of your solution. And most salespeople don't understand their clients. So here's one of the things I coach, Pat, just a quick tip, is I coach the clients I work with. And I say, you need to understand their organization, what they care about individually. What does the CEO care about? What does the president care about? What does the VP of sales, VP marketing, VP, what do they care about? How are they evaluated? And what do their customers care about? Who are their customer? Who are their customers' customers? So you start understanding that, oh, so let's see, VP of sales, all they care about is winning the deal, closing the deal. What does marketing care about? So you message, you know how to message to legal, you message to procurement, sales, marketing, executive level, board. I have met with board levels. I can't even tell you how many times I've presented to boards in my career, where I'm called in on this Tuesday night board meeting to do a presentation. And the messaging to a board is different than the messaging to IT. And a lot of salespeople don't know how to do it, and they don't understand.
I think it's so critical, is to have the different messaging at the different levels. It's not, personality based, like, some of the sales stuff that we've learned. It's what's their real pain? How do we identify it and then solve it and then communicate to that solution and to that solution to that pain? Amazing. I know that most of the people that you work with are really seasoned.
Right.
They're pros. They're good at what they do.
Right.
They're I mean, they don't suck, they're good.
They're already achievers. Yeah.
Yeah, they want
They want
want
to
to
go
do
to the
better.
next level. Yeah.
And a lot of times, anytime there's new things, new change, there's resistance to that change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what would you say to someone that knew that they could do better for themselves and their family and their impact, but they just don't have a vision to see what that would look like and to go for that extra bit? So what would you say to them to encourage? I would encourage, I mean, me, I'd go say call Dave, but how would you encourage those people?
I always look at pain and gain. I'll be real frank with you, pain and gain. Are you happy where you're at? And if you are, great, stay where you are. Perfect. That's great. But if you're not happy where you're at and you want more, you're frustrated, you don't like the career, the position, the company, the type of accounts, maybe you're getting burned out, maybe you start having call reluctance, and you say, I want more, I deserve more, I'm below my potential, I always do well, and I know I can, because if they can, I can. The difference between the pain and the gain is the motivation. And I think it's important for someone to look at that. Number one, to look at that. Number two, there are achievers that are already there. They're already happy. They're where they're at, but they just want more too. They're not unhappy. But it really takes that introspection of the type of individual. And I'll tell you, that was me. I mean, I didn't know squat. You know, I didn't have guidance. I didn't have a dad. I didn't have the focus. I didn't have someone guiding, oh, here's what you do in your career. My managers were nice. I wasn't getting the coaching and the mentoring. So I just looked at it myself. I go, okay, start reading books, start going to seminars, start going to workshops, start learning and really digging in and becoming what's the word I'm looking for? You know, a student of not just sales, but everything related to sales, human behavior, psychology. Um, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about it today, Pat. If you haven't, can I go? How are we doing on time? We're good.
You're good.
So,
It's so funny because I see some of this stuff and what you're saying, and I just say, look, just take it, go for it.
so funny. But I was just thinking about it today, and I was thinking, you know, I've got a number of my friends who are engineers, and I'm an engineer, right? Double E, electrical engineering, computer engineering, and that's my background. And then I've got some friends that also are double E or high tech, and they're in sales, and they're top performers, and it's fascinating. When I started, and one of my former VPs was a double E, right? And I go, well, that's kind of weird because you wouldn't expect that. But what's unique about what I realized about it is engineers, and I'm saying you have to be an engineer to sell, but we're analytical, we study, we systems and process. And so we look at sales, if we're in sales, we look at it and we go, all right, what do I need to do to be a little better? A little better, a little better, a little better, a little better. And it's constant refining and refining and refining. Whereas most salespeople, it's like, nope, I'm good. And you know what we call it is you got 1 year of experience repeated 10 or 20 years. It's the 1 year just repeated. And what's fascinating about engineers or people that have that refiner mindset is they do look at it and they go, oh, okay, that's good, but let's try to get better, 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 better. And so I tend to, oftentimes I appeal to those personality types of the people who go, no, I'm a refiner. Like, you know, I golf, I refine golf, I coach sports, basketball, volleyball, right? Coach golf. I'm a refiner. And so I look at how do I get better as a coach? What do I do how do I help my students just like in sales, how do I help refine a little bit better, a little bit better? And how do I message it better? And I think it's the analytical nature. And it's fascinating when I started seeing the pattern. Now, do you have to be that way? No, right? If it's going to hold, if you analysis paralysis, you're screwed, right? In sales, you got to take action. But, but that refiner mindset is, is something I look forward to.
I love that, but I also know something about you that you told me the other day, which I would have never ever thought, and yet you actually pointed it out as being one of the milestones where you began to take risks and have breakthrough in
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you, because I saw the direct correlation with many people's lives in
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah. I know what you're
So
talking about.
if you would, what was it that you did that changed so
All
much?
right. So it was so funny. I was working, you know, I did a lot of things early in my life to try to take more risk, but you know, I went into sales and I said, I'm so comfortable where I am. I don't want to take risk. And I was not happy that with that. So I started taking more and more risks. So I'm going to try to keep this really short, but none of it is. There was an intern that worked in our office, and I walked by her cubicle, and she had all these pictures of skydiving, and I'm like, "Wow, who's that?" She goes, "That's me." I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's me." You know, and I'm like, "How many times have you done this?" She goes, "I don't know, only a couple hundred." And she goes, "Only a couple hundred." Well, the reason she said only a couple hundred was because her boyfriend was on the Austrian national jump team who does it all the time. And what happened was I had gone to see the movie Point Break many years ago with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze.
Patrick.
And it turns out that her boyfriend is very good friends with Patrick Swayze's brother, who did the stunts in the movie. So anyway, I see the movie and I'm like, I got to go skydiving. And then when I saw this intern who made it look like, God, it's not that hard, I was like, sign me up. So I sign up to go skydiving. And the funniest thing is, for weeks before, I was just freaking out. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm like, and she was so reassuring, and I was studying and I'm reading, and I go for runs. I was running. So I was a runner, right? I still am, but I go run 4 or 6 miles and I'd be done with the run. I wouldn't even know I left because all I was thinking about is what's going to be like to get out on the wing? What's going to be like to jump? What's going to be like if I crash? What if I die? Right? We get to the airport, go up in the airplane, and my instructor, we're going to do a tandem, so free fall. So we go up in the airplane. Long story short, we go up in the airplane and he's like, all right, so, I'll just tell you when it's, we're ready to go. And so we're just cruising up there and, the heart's starting to pound a little bit. And then all of a sudden, here's the funniest thing. It was, okay, we got to go. Like, well, and it's like, no, got go, go, go. And it's not like, all right, we'll start getting ready. It was like, he's done it thousands of times, my instructor. It's like, go. And so what do? Door opens, whoosh, and you climb out on the wing. Oh my God. And you're out on the wing. There's this little step and I'm out on the wing. You're like, oh my God. He goes, okay, when I tell you let go, you got to let go. You got to let go. You can't hold on. You got to let go. He goes, let go. And you're like, ah, and you're like, ah, and you're like freaking out. I'm like, ah, and you're like so disoriented. And it's that free fall. If you've ever been on a roller coaster and you're like, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm flying. And it's the most unbelievable, your face, it's like flapping into your hair and stuff. And it's, oh my gosh. And it was so funny. I jumped with a cameraman. So it was all recorded. I had a wireless mic on. I'm like, hi, Mom. And it's so funny. We land and anyway, amazing. So I land and it's a perfect landing, which was amazing. I got very fortunate. Landed right where we were supposed to land. That was really fortunate. Just a phenomenal experience. But what I realized when the guy goes, you got to let go. Sometimes that's the challenge we have in life, is we're afraid to let go. We're afraid to try. We're afraid to do. We're afraid to make those calls to the CEO of a Fortune 500. We're afraid. And they're not, it's a different kind of fear, right? Fear of dying, because by the way, if you ever go skydiving, you get this long 9 million page document that says, yes, I understand insurance won't cover it. Yes, I could die. And when you have to sign that was kind of freaky, by the way. But it's all about letting go. And it really is that metaphor of you can't be afraid to take a step forward. Oh, but I might lose money hiring someone to help me. Oh my gosh, is that the right thing to do? I don't know. Should I call them? What if they hang up on me? What if I don't know what to say to the CEO? What if the attorney, I call legal and they're like, don't call us, right? Oh my, so it holds people back. And skydiving, it's that metaphor. You let go, and once you let go, you're flying. And then you land, and you're like, oh my gosh, it wasn't that bad. And in fact, it was an amazing experience. It's the fear, fear, F-E-A-R, you hear different things, but future events appearing real, right? It's you're projecting, and I wrote about this in the book. Fear is really just what could go wrong, right? I speak, I don't know, 140 times a year, right? In front of hundreds of people. I travel 200 days a year. And people are like, how do you do that? Like, I could stand up working on a TED Talk right now. And I stood up on the stage at where TED was. And there's like, it seats about 3,000 people. And I just stood there and go, man, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to do this. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you would want to do it. It's the secret is you have to eliminate thinking about the future event and believing it's real. It is purely a figment of your imagination of what could go wrong. And one of the things that I coach people, and I think, Pat, I've even said this to you, is instead of thinking what could go wrong, what if you anticipate what could go right?
Yeah, create that. I mean, that's the beauty of this stuff. So, two things as we wrap the show. One, name of the book, and two, how to connect to you. Because if you're in sales, if you run a sales team, I would talk to Dave in a heartbeat. I've worked with Dave. I know lots of other people that have worked with Dave. I've seen him produce incredible results with other organizations. And I just go, what could go right? Right. So
That's
with that,
true.
Dave,
That
help
is
me
true.
out.
So here I got to reach, excuse me for going off camera. So the book, you asked about the book. So the book, you're going to love the title. Balls, the three secrets of sales success. And it's you got to have balls, right? You got to play balls to the wall, right? You got to learn how to juggle balls, not drop balls. And it talks about that. The best way to reach me is David at 180 Degree Selling. That's 180 DEGREE SELLING, 180degreeselling.com. Or you can go to 180degreeselling.com to learn more about my sales training and coaching. Personal website, just David Suson, DAVIDSUSON.com. And that's
Great.
those
And
are the
I'll
best.
have those in the explanation, of description of the video. And so they get the book. It's on Amazon,
So
or is it from?
book is on Amazon. If you want to order it through me, what I'll do is I'll get you a signed copy for less than on Amazon, and I'll get you a signed copy and I'll ship that out to you if you'd like that. So just reach out to me. I'll get you a signed copy of the book, and happy to do that for
And they
you.
can reach out, maybe try to schedule some time with you, find out how your program works and all that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. You know, I always am willing to give 30 minutes at least, right? And you know, you've worked with me. I'm pretty generous with my time unless I've got, back to back to back. I'm pretty generous. But what I encourage you to do is reach out, talk to me for 30 minutes and share with me your challenges, what you're going through. It's not a sales pitch. It is, what can I do to help you? And I'm of the belief, Pat, if I can help you, and I can help you achieve your goals or eliminate the challenges, that you are willing to invest in it. That's my belief. And if there's not a fit, and I can't, and you don't think I can, I don't have a problem with you going, hey, it's not a fit for me. But take 30 minutes and reach out to me. Let's schedule some time, free coaching call, or I'll just listen, hear what your challenge is, and see if there's an opportunity to work together. And if I can help you and take my analytical psychoanalysis, and I'm just kidding, but years of analyzing like the psychology of selling and the mechanics and tactics and strategy of selling, and kind of rolling that in and help you and take that experience and knowledge to get to your root cause, then let's talk and see if I can help you out.
that'd be great. Folks, this is strength-based marketing. A little long today, but I know it's worth it because Dave really does have a great program, and I've seen it create massive results. And if that's what you're looking for, then I would connect to Dave right away. Strength-based marketing. I'm Pat Dewar. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks, Pat.
You bet, Dave.